right. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Hack. The time is 6:10, 18:10 CST. That'll be 19:10, 7:10 EST for where you are, my friend. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever or wherever you happen to be watching this, it's just KJ, and this is going to be the next episode of Operation Silver Bullet, where I shoot my interests. And among my myriad interests is anything involving fitness or self-improvement, as well as independent entrepreneurship. Speaking of things that are independent, let's take a minute to clearly establish that the views, comments, opinions, and content featured here are not official endorsements of the Department of the Air Force, the Department of the Marine Corps, or the Department of War at large. This is just two servicemen having a conversation. And I want to thank you, the viewer, for your time and attention here. Since we are doing this in my industry, we call it yo-yo ops, meaning you're on your own. I am just a man with an email and a webcam and a StreamYard link that is trying to get things done. And I'm glad to introduce my guest, who was a person who was a big fan of building Marines, building your body, and building a brand, taking tally of our wins, losses, and experience, who was the creator of FirstLine Performance, a fitness program tailored for active duty military members and veterans to building muscles. And this man is serving those who serve. So I want to thank you, Mr. Evan Hendrickson, for joining me for Operation Silver Bullet. And I want to hear your story.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? My name is Evan Hendrickson. I'm currently a United States Marine. I am 23 years old, and my pure mission here is to just make an impact in the industry, right? Make sure all of our service members are fit. And yeah, I'm ready to rock and talk about some stuff today, and I appreciate you for having me on.
Great. So we want to get up to the background and the upbringing. What was your home life and your family like, and what motivated you to coming into the service?
Yeah, so absolutely. I grew up in Long Island, New York, before joining. Funny story, if you ever follow me, you obviously know because I'm your coach. But I was 265 pounds before joining the United States Marine Corps, going through trials and tribulations in high school, dealt with bullying. Obviously, was just that cool fat kid that kind of fit in with everything. I think it was a switch in like 11th grade where I was like, all right, I got to figure out what I want to do. Never really was a school guy. Didn't like going to school, honestly. Wasn't good with grades. Had to get like extra help. Was in the resource room. Was one of those guys. But here I am now. But actually was going to join the Coast Guard. Looked at the Air Force. My brother's in the Air Force. My other brother was in the Navy. And I did go toward the Coast Guard, like I said. And then, funny enough, I had a friend come over who's now a recon Marine. And he came over to my house and we were just sitting on the computer and he pulled up the Marine Corps website and I was like, that looks pretty cool. Like my grandpa was a Marine. And I don't know, there was just a calling for me to at least talk to the recruiter. So I did just that. I was 265 pounds though, like I said in the beginning of this. So
and was that related to any sports? Like, did you do any sports growing up or did you move around, or was it just, a lot of Americans live a sedentary lifestyle. It's just a factor that we have to deal with. But was there like a sports, because eventually we're going to talk about, you being in the bodybuilding and being with the combat sports. Was there any sports that guided you into that? And then it just ended up being something that you had to cut before you came into the service, or what was that like?
Yeah. So, funny question, but I played football and lacrosse my whole life. 11th grade, had to quit because I had to focus purely on losing weight. Football, they bulk you up, you eat all this food, linemen, the whole 9 yards. Lacrosse, I played attack, but I also did play face-off, so I would just literally take the face-off and get off the field. So it was pretty easy. But they called me Meatball. Like, my name was Meatball. My nickname was Meatball in high school. But yeah, 11th grade, had to make that decision. So I quit all high school sports, and then I transitioned to purely preparing for the Marine Corps. And I cannot thank the Marine Corps recruiter to this day and just the whole Marine Corps because it completely changed my life, right? You'll never hear me say anything bad about the service because it completely changed my life. I live a beautiful life. I have an apartment. It's awesome. So, that's where that happened. And then what'd you ask next? I was on a roll there.
So it was experience, and then we're going to talk about the bodybuilding. That was going to be a little bit later. But what was your MOS, and what was your best and worst time in service?
Okay, so my MOS, I'm still in. I'm a 7041, so just an aviation operations specialist. My work kind of centers around aviation operations, coordinations, planning, making sure details are all handled correctly, right?
So that's more of that's not the MAGTAF air. That's more of like the airfield operations portion.
Yep. Absolutely, okay. Yeah. So we could go.
We're on the TAC C2 side.
Yeah, no, we could go like ATC and all that. But basically like flight schedules, airspace, stuff like that.
ATOs, ACOs,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So my best part in service, I would honestly say, has been the people. Like the responsibility and the opportunities I never would have had otherwise, right? I think the hardest part is the time away, right? Time away from family was tough in the beginning, but you already know you have unpredictable hours. You have a lot of sacrifices. You miss a lot of birthdays. You miss a lot of holidays. With putting the mission first, right? That's how it is, like, especially being in the Marine Corps. And like what the service has taught me about, fitness and leading individuals has been, that standards matter. And this is why I launched FirstLine Performance, right? But your example and your image matters more, right? So you cannot demand discipline, right? This is why I always say your rank doesn't replace your fitness. You cannot demand discipline, accountability, or effort from other people if you're unwilling to live those things yourself. Simply said. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
And what would you say is the end game of what your service is projected to be? Do you plan on doing the full 20, or is there something else that you want to do, or are you fully committed to the Corps? Because I don't know. I want to see, especially knowing how I came in and all the things that are happening right now. Like, I want to see how many people are going to get into the full 20. I want to see, some want to be able to shake hands with somebody and say, hey, I knew that guy and he's a colonel now.
Yeah, no. So I'm at 6 years right now. I did re-enlist. I'm supposed to get out in 2029. And my focus right now is finishing my commitment right strong and continuing to grow. I'm not forcing a full 20-year answer today, right? I don't know where I'm going to be in 2 years down the line. When that time comes, your thoughts change. So I'll make that decision based on, where, when, if I want to continue serving, leading and building the best long-term future for myself and my family.
Right. And now we're going to get into the stage of what you have now with FirstLine Performance. So what motivated you to create that, and what is your overall goal with this? It's a coaching service for those that don't know, for the uninitiated. Can you explain what it is and what your process was for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So what motivated me to create FirstLine Performance simply says my own transformation, right? I was 265 pounds, got down to 155, did the whole bodybuilding, high rocks, marathons, which we'll get into. But basically, it's crazy what just structure and accountability can do in your life, right? The goal is obviously to help all active duty service members and veterans lose body fat, build muscle, improve performance, and regain confidence without letting military life become an excuse, because it shouldn't be an excuse. We are mandated an hour and a half a day to PT, right? It should never be an excuse, never be on your back burner, right? Now, I guess, what was your next question?
And what do you believe has contributed to the need for the coaching and the coaching service? Because there's so many myriad factors. I personally think there's lack of knowledge, because I'm not a big nutrition guy. I just use my metabolism to my advantage. Or some people will say, it's a will issue versus a skill issue. We've all been there. We've seen times where someone, can't pass the PT test, or they don't. My dad says, who used to be a Marine, your rank doesn't replace your performance. Like, if you look like crap in uniform, it doesn't matter what your rank is, even if you're on the commission side. So have you observed that it's a knowledge issue, a will issue, or a skill issue?
I believe that most people do not lack information, right? They lack a plan that fits their lifestyle, consistent accountability, and someone who can help them, adjust when life gets messy. And simply said, right? It is usually not a willpower problem, right? We've all went through a boot camp. We've all went through a structured process. It's a structure problem. That's all it is, right? Because a lot of people will hit the fleet. I really think, to dig a little bit more into this, I think it's who your leaders are and how you are raised from when you come to the fleet right out of boot camp. That's simply said, that's what I think. If you show up and you have a very good leader, you'll be fine. If you show up and you don't have a good leader and a good example to follow, you're going to have problems. So that's where I'm at on that.
And that's within your training, but especially when it comes to the details of what exists in the FirstLine Performance coaching service, what have you had any formal or informal training that contributed to the creation of it? Like, I know we get really deep into the details about nutrition and things like that. Where did all that information come from?
So nutrition is always going to be 90% of it, right? If you're not following any sort of nutrition program, or at least having some sort of structure, you're going to struggle. right? Because you can only out-train a bad diet so much, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially in the service, right? You've seen it, like Domino's, living in the barracks. People just order food on Friday nights after a stressful week at work. I get it, right?
And he's living on cigarettes and energy drinks. That's their diet.
100%. And people think it's cool, but then it gets to a certain point where that's going to catch up, dude. Like, you're going to have to raise a family. You're going to have to become a grown man one day, right? And like the energy drinks, I still do energy drinks, but like the cigarettes, I've never done. It's just never been me. Maybe it's the way I was raised, but I've never had that problem. I think like another topic we could touch on is like a lot of service members aren't primed enough coming out of boot camp, right? I feel like the standards are shifting. I don't know if they're getting easier, honestly. I can't say if they are or not, because you still have some solid, like I still have some solid Marines that show up from boot camp in a schoolhouse. I think it's just the leadership. And leadership is going to be huge because if you have a new guy show up and he doesn't know anything about buying a car, he doesn't know anything about a structured diet, doesn't know anything about, literally the list goes on. Credit, simple stuff like that. What is a credit card? I think a lot of people are gifted and they'll come and they have knowledge, right? Because they had, a good upbringing through life. And then you have other people who struggled. And like as a Marine Corps NCO leader, I need to be able to identify that and be able to help that specific individual in whatever they're lacking in. And that starts slowly when they show up. It is all image. Just like we talk about people being, out of shape. I can look, if someone comes up to me and they're out of shape, I can identify that, and it's what I do with it, especially if it's a higher leader, right? I can, obviously, you have to respect the rank, especially if it's an officer, right? But I don't have to like you. Like, that's simply said. Because there was, dude, I totally forgot, but it was in California. I was talking to an officer the other day, and he said that the CG had mandated to any Marine that if you see someone who's out of shape, to report it up your chain of command immediately. And I was like, that should be a thing everywhere, service-wide. Right? Because if I see an officer come up to me and they're out of shape, immediately I'm going to listen to them and I'm going to respect their rank, but I'm not going to respect them as an individual, especially if they're preaching fitness. Like if we're talking PT, I show up to PT and they show up and they're running the PT. Number one, I'm going to outperform them. Number two, I'm going to be like, come on now. Like
it's like how you look is a testament to your credibility for anything that you say or do. I mean, 100%. I get it. We're all told to, show up on time, show up the formation. We do the job. And I think we get, this is just my personal opinion, but I think we get very focused and narrowed in on just doing the mission. But I mean, especially in the Marine Corps more so. I mean, I'm the chair force guy. Like, you get to pick on us. I was at the doctor's yesterday because my neck is messed up. But
I mean, honestly, I think we're all the same. I think like there's one big mission and we're all in it together, and it's coming more apparent with, current events, right? We all have to work together. I don't think I'll ever say anything bad about another branch because my brother's in the Navy and the Air Force. So it's like, I think like all those people, the hoorah, they'll joke around and stuff. But like when shit hits the fan and we have to work together, then all that shit is behind us and it goes out the window, But yeah, that's where I'm at on that. Sorry, I cut you off.
And I was just saying, it differentiates us because for servicemen, it's a lifestyle. It's more than just, showing up, punching the clock, doing your 9 to 5 or not 9 to 5, but doing your job or whatever. I'm typing emails all day, but it is a lifestyle. It is, hey, you have a chain of command that you have to report this to. A lot of people don't necessarily live that lifestyle, and the tools that commanders and NCOs use to enforce that. That's really what differentiates service members from those who don't. Not saying that there's saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's more of a holistic thing. Wouldn't you say?
No. I'm agreeing with you 100%.
Right. And I wanted to talk more about bodybuilding because, I mean, you and I have spoken. I have taken the approach to where, like, I was really into combat sports. I took up boxing. I was always someone that was, in shape. I always had this body style or body type. I did cross country for a little while. But when it comes to bodybuilding or doing things that are sport specific, how have you tailored your program or just tailored any of your training to that specifically? And have you seen any deviations from that? Because I say this all the time as a boxer, and people still disagree with me. I said cardio is king and cardio wins fights. So I have a high emphasis on cardio. That's just my thing.
No, absolutely. Cardio and endurance in a whole will win fights and win wars, right? You need to be
Right.
able to bring each other across the finish line. Or like we say, is bring them off the X, right?
Yeah.
But I will say programming is different for everybody, right? Everyone has different goals. There's not a person in my program that has the same program as another person in my program. And that's what I take pride in. I just ask of all my current clients is like, hey, this is a 50-50 road. You can either listen to me and do what I tell you to do and at least check, 5 days off out of 7. And over time, that'll, lead up to multiple days in those carry on, and then we see progress, right? But with the bodybuilding, that's a whole different beast. That's a very more detailed, structured. I want you to think like lifestyle clients. Like most of my clients are just active duty service members and or veterans or police officers and firefighters, paramedics, right? From all different ones. First responders, yeah.
Yep.
But those guys are more lifestyle clients, right? We do the meal plan, we do the training program, we still get them sustainable, great progress within the 6 and 12-month program that we offer. But then also we have bodybuilding clients. So I have like a bodybuilding client right now who's in prep. And I want you to think like with lifestyle, obviously we're trying to lose weight, right? But we're not worried about bringing in your triceps. I mean, like we can be, right?
Yeah.
But for my client who's about to compete in 2 weeks, right? Went through this whole prep. We've identified that his delts needed to come in midway through prep. So we started, double down on delts. We fed him a bunch of food, and we're going to try to do our best with the first 2 shows, right?
Yeah,
but now
hydration and things like that. Because I have some friends that have done bodybuilding, and don't you have to cut a lot before you actually go to a presentation so you can get the form that you're trying to present to everyone when you get like evaluated?
100%. I want you to think of bodybuilding. It's all looks game. That's all it is. It's called look. Like you've heard the looks maxing stuff lately. Like it's literally just all looks, right? Because we are we don't care about a number on the scale anymore. We care about what the body looks like. So, for example, I guess, I usually make my athletes, we start prep 16 weeks out. So I have 16 weeks fully prep mindset, right? And then it's daily habits. We nip from the beginning, right? That means they're not missing a dot. They're crossing every X and O. They're hitting their cardio. They're drinking 2 gallons of water a day, which we'll get to. 2 gallons of water a day. They're eating their calories. They're having high days on their training days, low days on their rest days. And they're also doing what I tell them, as in practicing their posing, sending me training footage like they should be. And lifestyle clients too, they have to send, training footage if they choose to, right? But that's if they choose to, right? It's a 50-50 treat. I always say that. But my guy right now, 3 weeks out, we've been pulling down food. We've been adding cardio. We're at an hour and 10 minutes of cardio right now, and he's just at 1,800 calories. So it's gritty now. 4 weeks out, we rip out all seasonings, sauces, caffeine, gum, sugar alcohols, all that gets pulled out, right? Because that affects his look, right? Sugar alcohols from gum can hold water. It gets so down gritty to like you are literally just staring at them hours leading up to the show and you're feeding them and you're just watching the body respond. It's honestly really cool to see like I fed them this. Okay, they're responding good. Cool. If they're not, we're going to pull back. It's always going to be a midsection game in today's world of bodybuilding. If they bring in a crazy conditioning and 6-pack, cool. That's like what's going to win you win on the stage. And I did it. I did the whole thing, right? And I did it naturally. And my clients are natural, right? Because we're in the service. So that's just how it is. There's so much noise out there now, dude, with like gear and
the GLP and all these weird different miracle drugs. And I just wanted to ask if you had an opinion on that, just from your observation, because I agree with you in the sense that we don't have an information deficit. I think, and honestly, we have an information overload. And I think the double-edged sword that comes with that is you have to dedicate so much time and energy to sussing out good information versus sussing out crap. I mean, everybody's a snake oil salesman. Everybody's got a course. Everybody's got a podcast, doing all this stuff. But in the vast digital sea of all of that, how do you find what works for you? And I do believe that taking austere drugs or all these different supplements, these different miracle drugs or miracle fluids or whatever, I do believe that has caused a lot of friction with actually getting good at the sport. What say you?
100%. I think my opinion here on peptides, testosterone, GLPs, right, on them becoming more common, you're seeing them, right, come more common in 2026 especially, right? I think they can be legitimate tools in the right medical setting, right? But they're not, and this is what people need to understand, they are not replacements for sleep, nutrition, training, blood work, consistency. Simply said, because people should use, obviously if they're utilizing those, they should have a medical doctor approving that and prescribing it to them instead of just treating it like a drug and a shortcut. Because a lot of people are now starting to rely on GLP-1s, right? Because they think they can just take this GLP, lose this weight, they're going to go. We don't even know.
Like, for example, phenomenon.
Number one, Ozempic. Number two, which you're hearing a lot, is retatrutide. I don't even know if I should say that word because I don't want it to get flagged on here.
That is.
Yeah, it's a GLP-1 or it's a GLP. But basically, it's this new drug that everyone's taking, and you're seeing it all over TikTok, and I'm just shaking my head because the FDA hasn't even approved it yet. And you don't know the side effects of it right now. Like, nobody knows. So, like, down the line, I do see, and I'll just be sitting back like this because a lot of people are going to probably have side effects. I could be wrong. It could be a good, clean slate like creatine. It comes out, whatever. But that's my experience on that. Like, not experience because I've never done it, but, like, that's my take on it because I think a lot of people are now starting to rely on it as a tool to replace hard work.
Right. And on the backside, seeing it as, from the officer's perspective, and especially one that's been, dealing with the legal field and all the studying that I did for that, a lot of things that we had to do with someone from my capstone, shout out to them. We did I didn't because my capstone was different, but they did a presentation on certain substances that are actually, banned for service members that a lot of people didn't know about. Like, a lot of people didn't realize that, Delta 8 or Kratom or, some of these other like THC derivatives, they thought that, because you're not, smoking it, that it's fine and that it doesn't get detected on a certain test. But if they find it in your system or if they find you with it, you get hemmed up and nobody wants that smoke. Nobody wants to deal with that.
No, absolutely not. I've always been super careful just my whole life, but I've never done anything. I think the most I've done, obviously, is like what you take. Multivitamins, D3, K2, your basics. That's all you need. I literally did a natural prep, stepped on the bodybuilding stage, placed first place in multiple divisions, and I was natural. Now, like, if I wanted to progress and do crazy in bodybuilding, like, I would have to be out of the Marine Corps and on gear. It's 100%. Like, everybody on the big-time bodybuilding stages now are on some sort of steroids. And it's sad to see because I think it's honestly not fair to us athletes like myself who do it naturally. And it's so much harder for us.
Right. And you see it all the time. Like, the closest thing I can compare it to is like the boxing world, just because I follow that. And, especially when it comes to the nutrition and the hydration, like, I've seen weigh-ins where guys have stepped on the scale, they step off, and then they pass out right afterwards because they're doing everything they can to try to make sure that they hit that weight. And like, they're doing it naturally. And then there's always the whole ostarine. Someone's getting accused of, this one protein that's found in this one type of steak or whatever. It's always a thing, and I don't get caught in that. I just like seeing people throw punches.
100%.
But between all of the travel and the appearances, the coachings, the mentorship, a podcast appearance, number one, number two, thank you again. How do you manage all of that, and what are your day-to-day responsibilities as the person that's in charge of this FirstLine Performance service?
I mean, like, you have to be able to rely on systems, right?
Yeah.
AI is taking over this world. I mean, like, I coach my clients 100% human-based, and I will die on that because a lot of coaches now just utilize AI. Now, I'm not saying I don't utilize AI to organize all my contracts and stuff. Like, it's not AI, but it's called a Go High Level, right? And it basically is a huge picture of everything that's going on in my business. So simply said, I have a job that I have to work, right? The Marine Corps is my number one priority, right? Yep. It's my 8 to 4 every single day, Monday through Friday. I get weekends off. So I get to, spend more time on the weekends doing what I love. Not that I don't love the Marine Corps, but I love giving back and, coaching my clients, right? And breeding results. Right? But I rely on systems, honestly. I schedule check-in blocks to when I know I can get back to them. So heading into the weekend, clear communication, and I have a team, right? I have multiple guys who work for me who aren't in the Marine Corps, right? But, when I travel, it only changes the location. Nothing really, changes in the business. It's kind of the same flow. But it doesn't change my standard for my clients should receive, right? Because that's why they're there. So that's how I deal with that.
Yep. Because, you get it. You're doing this not necessarily yo-yo ops because you do have a team, but, you're a one-man band that also is in the service. So it has its own set of challenges when you're trying to manage something like that. That's sort of extracurricular, regardless of what it's catered towards.
Yeah, but like I said, time management is going to be your number one best friend. I get up early. I go to the gym at 5 a.m. I'm disciplined. I go to work. I'm on time every time. I get what I need to get done at work. I'll stay for whatever I have to do my thing, go home at the regular 16:30, and then I work on my business at night because I'm allowed to, right? That's my off time. But I get my workouts done in the morning, and then it's like client fulfillment time at night times, make sure my clients are taken care of, make sure they're good to go. And then, filming content. You've seen my page and stuff. But I have editors. Like, I don't edit my videos. I outsource all that because I can. Right. But yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
And I don't know if I've asked this question before. I think we kind of circled the boat a little bit. But what do you say is the most common hurdle or obstacle that people have in achieving their fitness goals, whether it's on the bodybuilding side or just the lifestyle side? I think we kind of circled the boat a little bit on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Number one problem is what you're asking?
Yes, or the most common problem that you see.
Yeah, the most common problem I see in this industry is inconsistency. People will keep changing the plan. They will wait for motivation to show up. They are trying to be perfect or that perfect time to start. The real win, honestly, is going to be building a simple structure with someone watching over it that you can follow when work, family, and stress is not ideal. That's simply so. It's that simple. I think a lot of people try to overcomplicate it, and I don't blame them. I talk to people all the time. There's so much out there online that can make you just spiral. Right?
Yeah, information overload. What do you call it? Paralysis by analysis. That's what we call it.
Yeah, 100%. And it's horrible to say that. It's just shitty because in this industry, there's so much fraud out there. As in, like, people just trying to, like, it's like if I signed you and I just gave you a generic Excel sheet that I've given 100 other people. It's not fair.
Right.
And a lot of those people don't see results anyway. They sign up for a course or a program. Right? Everyone is always going to be selling a course or a program. That's why I try to make mine different.
Right. And what really differentiates yours? Like, I know I'm on the app and I've seen all the things that you do, but how do you stand out from the next person that's doing the same thing? Because, my algorithm has like 20 other people that are doing something similar.
Yeah, no, everyone is always going to be selling a course or a program or marketing it, right? And what makes mine different is FirstLine is specifically built for people who serve or who have transitioned out of the service. I understand duty schedules. I understand real life. I understand going to the field. I understand travel. I understand stress. I understand limited food options. I understand fitness standards. I understand PT tests. So the plan is practical. It's not cookie cutter. It's designed for someone who doesn't have a perfect schedule. Yeah. That's what makes me different. I'm not giving you a plan that a 9-to-5 worker is utilizing to see progress.
Right. And this is all independent, by the way. This isn't something that's like endorsed or I don't know, because I could in a I'm just playing a mental experiment here, but I could see this as something that's integrated within, like, we call them OST, but in our training office, because yes, I understand from our perspective, we are supposed to be, I don't want to say hand-holding, but we're supposed to have the one-to-one time with the people that we mentor. But everyone could use a tool or use a plan because that's what we're constantly cycling these programs in and out. Have you ever thought about doing that? Or is this all just completely independent?
I just kind of have kept it independent. I've seen a lot of success in that. I think once you add more people into it, it's not really yours anymore. Now I'm going to have to accept the fact, right? As soon as I hit my cap of clients, that I have to hire another person to help me out. I have to bring on an additional coach. I can't do it myself, but my goal would be to be the number one fitness coach for, active duty and veterans transitioning out. and have 5 to 6 coaches under me. But I'm very nitpicky on how I like stuff done. So I've been creating SOPs because I know that time will come, right? But I create SOPs down to the dot. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So if someone wants to get hired, they get this SOP and they should be able to do the job. But I am like more a type of guy like, hey, I'm going to give you this SOP. You do, I watch. Then I do, you watch. And then I review.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of how most of our training goes anyways.
Yeah, no, like in the military, like you do teach backs, right? It's very simple.
Hot washes, all those things.
Yeah, exactly. What could we have done better? What can we do better next time? Stuff like that.
Okay. And what would you say is next for you in your personal life, you in your professional life, or with FirstLine Performance? I mean, we have an app. Do you have a website or anything that you're looking to expand, or you're just keeping it close to the vest for now?
Yeah, so absolutely, I have an app. Like obviously, I have a proven system that works. You see all the testimonials on my page. But the next step is kind of what we just touched on. It's kind of just building a stronger team, right? Coaching team, serving more active duty members and veterans, right? Expanding the community and just creating a brand that continues to help people grow long after their military obligations, simply said. And that's like what it's all about, right? And it's very, very simple, right? And I think I know we talked about this and it was on the list, underutilized and overutilized fitness methods. And I wanted to touch on that is like walking, sleep, basic strength training, repeated, simple meals are underutilized. A lot of people don't like simple stuff. They want to overcomplicate it, right? So like we said earlier on this call, you can't out-train a bad diet. So extreme cardio is good, right? But it's not good when you're like, I ate a pizza yesterday and now I'm going to go do 3 hours of cardio. Constant program hopping. That's something we see as in this industry is like, they might not like what you have to say. And I don't care. Like simply, first off, I'm a Marine. I'm very stern as is. But I'll tell someone what they don't want to hear. And this is how I hold the standard in my business. If you're not going to meet my standard and listen to me, then we're not a good fit and you can move on. It's very simple. I don't care about the money, dude. Like that is like the last of my worries, right? And also it's creating a brand that continues to help people long after my own military service, right? So due to get out in 2029, could I do this full time? Probably. Like I have plenty of time to build it up. But also like being in this game, it opens you up to so many avenues. And it's like, what do you want your business to be 10 years down the line? Like I'm sure you would want Operation Silver Bullet to be one of the well-known podcasts. I've got invited on to many podcasts, and I'm about to go on a big podcast, which you'll see in the next couple months, like a very big podcast, which I'm super excited about, but can't say anything now. But I'm super excited. Like my story is going to continue to get shared because I think it's very important that people hear my story, especially people, and I think that this needs to be spoken about more, overweight individuals, right, that think they can't do it, because you can do it. I'm a proven factor of you can do it. It's just a belief factor and something we have to get through with them.
Yeah. Like I did a little bit of time in foreign countries. I'm not going to disclose too much about that, but seeing that in other parts of the world, that the sort of sedentary lifestyle and seeing, the issues that we have that are not as present over there, it makes me think that I think it's more of a cultural revamp that we need to have. And the best place to have it really is in the service, because fitness is the underpinning of our lethality and our effectiveness.
100%. And you're starting to see it more and more with the Department of War.
Right.
The standards are changing. They're getting harder. We're starting to more optimize our war fighters, right? And they're pouring more into us as service members, which is great to see, because I think it was Sergeant Major Ruiz from the Marine Corps said, we can optimize, we can have the best war fighting systems in place and products, but if we're not taking care of our service members or the fighters, right, and they're not optimized 100% taken care of, as simple as housing, making sure they can get their food, all this stuff, right? If we're not taking care of our warfighters, then the mission won't get accomplished.
Right. And this is more of like a pop-up question, but we talk about this may get into more of like the tribalist portion of it. Maybe we just spend too much time on social media, but I mean, I'm more of a boxing guy. There are some people that are really heavy on bodybuilding, and I will just say in the combat sports world, there's always this feud between bodybuilders and how much weight you can lift versus combat sports and the techniques.
Mhm.
But as a standard of being a service member, what do you think is a sport or a method of achieving a certain fitness level that you think everyone could, I could say, abide by? Because there's this thing that we have, and I don't care. I'm sorry, I'm going to call people out that say this. They say max, relax, which is they say they're going to max the push-ups, they're going to max the sit-ups, and they're going
They
to
say that in the Marine Corps too.
Yeah, max, relax. And I'm like, I'm the inverse of that. I know that I won't be able to, lift as much, like because I'm more of a cardio guy, but I can outrun somebody. And there's this, I want to say like the cultural feuding. It's playful, but I do think there's something within just a standard set of fitness that is obfuscated in that. From your experience, what do you think? What do you think that's about?
I think a most underrated sport for optimizing warfighters would be jiu-jitsu, hand-to-hand combat, and I think more hybrid athletes, hybrid approaches, right? So lifting 3 times a week, running. That's what I'm doing myself, because you're building obviously muscle, right? But you're also building your cardiovascular health at the same time. I think that's a lot underutilized. I talked to an individual today, and he was just all over the place with his training. But you can do all that. You could do jiu-jitsu. You could do hand-to-hand stuff, right? But number one is going to be your nutrition. 90% of it, you talk to a lot of service members, they get up, crack an energy drink right away, don't eat breakfast, doing Zins. That's just like the new normal. But I want to be the change, right? I want to educate on why it's important to have a breakfast, and why it's important to at least have lunch and dinner, 3 meals a day, because how important that is ties in your metabolism, right? Let's talk about metabolism, right? But I think that could be talked about a lot more. I think the chow halls and stuff are getting better from what I've seen. They are shifting. Like I had a crazy good chow hall over here. Where you could ask for grilled chicken now. You can ask for an egg white omelet. You're starting to see a good trend on that aspect of stuff compared to like Marines and service members where they would come back and they would just be like, no, chow hall was only serving this is all I could eat. Like, no. Now they're changing. Everything is changing, right?
Like I wasn't cooking sirloin steak before I started talking to you. Now I'm trying to, figure out how to deal with all these different recipes because I'm not big on steak. I'm more of a grilled chicken kind of person.
I mean, like we could always update the plan, but yeah, ground beef. I'm more big like steak guy. I think, Whole Foods. I'm more of an anchored on Whole Foods type guy. I think like protein powder is good, but I don't think too much protein powder is good for you. A lot of people will now, starting to see a trend where they just rely on multiple scoops of protein throughout the day. Like, it's good you're hitting your protein, but that's not good over time. That'll kill your kidneys. Like, let's think big picture here.
Caffeine and creatine is not a miracle solution. It's just not. But I think that gets into like the bodybuilder mentality where I think they're overemphasizing, and I'm picking on them just because I can, but I think they're overemphasizing the lifting and they're emphasizing the looks, not really the functionality, which is just what I've seen just more on the combat sports side.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like in bodybuilding, you'll see, like I watched a video today of a guy saying like he's at that point in bodybuilding prep where if his coach told him to eat dog poop with salt on it, he would say how much sodium. Like, that's how crazy bodybuilding is. Like, and don't get me wrong, I was locked in when I was in my bodybuilding prep, but it's not optimal. You can't live bodybuilding year round. You can't enjoy life year round. Like, I'm a big guy. Like, I like to go out. I like to have a drink. Now I like to enjoy a cigar. Like, you can't do that in bodybuilding. Like, once you're like, I might do another bodybuilding show, which you'll see next year. But I'm prepared for that. Like, I'm preparing to enjoy a couple more holidays, and I'm planning to start prep after the new year, right? I'll be part of that new year wave, so I can't wait. But I'll start prep like January 1st, February, March, April, May, June show. Like, and then I won't miss my birthday. I won't miss any major holidays. But yeah, I went on.
And this is all outside of the service too. This isn't like a Marine Corps specific like bodybuilding.
Okay. No, I wish Marine Corps. I don't think we do, but like a bodybuilding team, I think like they have talked about it, which would be awesome. Like that'd be great. There's a bunch of bodybuilders in the Marine Corps.
Extracurriculars, within the services. So I feel like that's something that a lot of people are into. I don't see why
they have boxing teams, they have basketball, they have.
Exactly.
I'm sure if
they got esports teams.
Literally, like they got all that.
What they say, there's an app for that. Like there's a team for that.
Yeah, I think that'd be super cool. I just went to one of my client shows this past weekend, and it was a active duty veterans first responder show, which I thought was sick. And they like lined them all up on the stage, and it was just they presented colors in between, prejudging and finals. They said like what service they were from. I thought it was sick. Like I loved it. I was like, I should have did the show. It's called NPC Battle Royale. And they do, I think, 2 shows a year, and they put on a great show. And all the judges were actually prior, Air Force. I think the one guy, Tony Roberts, was prior Air Force, great guy. But they just know how to put on a show and take care of their athletes. Like they had everything laid out. Microwaves, bananas, anything the athlete needed was there. They had great vendors, coffee truck outside, barbecue. And it's like, this is great. Like this is how it should be. This is how bodybuilding should be. But then you have your ones and twosies that is just always mess it up somehow, right? But a lot of people don't realize with bodybuilding, every single one of us, it's a win to even step foot backstage here because we worked our ass off to get here. But it's like a political game back there because everyone wants to beat each other. And like I said, it's a look game. So
anything when it gets to a competitive level, there is always that level of politicking and so not just what you know, but who you know. It's like that in the most niche subcultures too. Not just the fitness 100%. Thing. Yeah. But the thing about fitness is it's more object oriented. It's more objective. Like if you got a guy that just looks like crap, nothing can hide the fact that he.
I mean, like that's another thing we could talk about. Like this past weekend, the athlete looked great, and then he's standing on stage next to someone who obviously didn't prep, like just did this for fun. And it's like I don't like that. Like you shouldn't be allowed to compete after all these other guys worked their butts off to get here, and now you're just standing next to somebody who's you don't want to sandbag.
Yeah, you don't want to sandbag somebody. It's just like no one likes that.
Exactly, brother. You get it.
And the final couple of questions is for the uninitiated. I'd like to ask you to plug your socials. Where could the good people find you on any and every platform that you
Absolutely.
have?
Yeah, you can find me on everything, honestly. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's going to be FirstLine Performance. That's where I kind of just share like my client results, my practical life, the way I live life, practical fitness education, military-focused coaching. I really try to educate. We just started something called Whiteboard Wednesdays, talking about just like education purely based only. I try to give out a lot of free value because I think that's what will get people into your container. That's just the day-to-day process of me going through building a business, the highs and lows. Every day isn't going to be easy, but that's where you all can find me. That's that.
Yep. And I always ask everyone this question, whether it's a serious interview or it's a fun interview, like, the other stuff that I do, that's completely outside of that. But I always ask like the plus or minus one thing, if you were able to add it to your life or subtract it from your life, that would advance your ultimate life goal, make you feel as if you are a more well-rounded, complete, whole person. What would it be? Only stipulation is everyone says money. So I say, don't add money or don't take away debt. And for the love of God, no politics, because someone tried to go political on me. And I was like, no.
I got two things for you. I'll leave everyone with something on like, what is something they can do to advance their goals. But to answer your question, my relationship with God. Because at the end of the day, he's the number one. He's the reason I'm here. He's the reason he has a plan. He already knows what the next 5 to 10 years of my life look like. So if I could grow anything, it would be my relationship with God. Believers or not, I would either, for the people that don't believe, I would say, like, whoever or what you believe in, you can always grow into.
Yep. Spiritual component, one of the 4 pillars, physical, mental, spiritual, and social, all those.
100%.
I could certainly use some of that in that department too, especially given the current state. I mean, the lore.
Yeah.
You know the lore.
100%.
But at 44 minutes and 32 seconds, that's a wrap up for the record. But
I got one thing for everyone before we leave, though.
Oh, of course, send it.
One thing that everyone could do today to advance their goals, I always love to leave people with, value, right, is stop waiting to feel motivated, right? There's always going to be times
when you feel motivated.
Stop waiting to feel motivated, right? Stop waiting for that perfect time. It's never going to be a perfect time. If I ever asked you about how something, successful in life happened, there was never a perfect time for that, right? So choose one basic action today. If you're at the end of this episode, you're going to get some free value, right? Track your food, train, walk, go to bed on time, dial in your morning routine, your nighttime routine, and keep that promise to yourself every single day. And then obviously, if you ever need help, hit myself up or my boy over here. He can point you in the right direction. You know where to find me, and we always can hop on a call. It's free.
Yeah, I got an SOP. Look, after this, I'm going to cook this salmon. I still got some letters to write, and I have a full day tomorrow. I'm probably going to get to boxing, but my boxing gear is like right there. So
Love it.
I'm about to get ready for that. Well, thank you for joining me for this iteration of Operation Silver Bullet out here.
Sir, I appreciate it.